Okay, we're all live. Hello, hello, my beautiful friends. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I want to have a special treat for you today on Friday. It's Izabela here, the World Messenger, and I have a very special guest that is going to definitely share some amazing, valuable stuff for all of you that are trying to build your successful brand and more, right? We have somebody who has been there, done that, who is fairly young, a very accomplished, obviously award-winning producer. He just won Emmys, couple Emmys, I believe, last year. And look at those guys in the background over there. Congrats. Also, he is host of TV series. He's also podcaster, speaker, investor, advisor, and crowdfunding expert and media expert. So who best to learn from about a video and how to position yourself than from Brandon Adams. Brandon, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Really excited to be here with you today and share everything that I know up here.
Fantastic. I know we'll need more than 1 hour or so, but I'm super psyched that you are sharing your knowledge specifically because we're kicking off 2021 and we wanted to definitely demonstrate that giving and leadership, and seems like you are been doing that as well. I just was super thrilled to see excitement, whether you're creating buzz-wise in Clubhouse for people that are not familiar, but also how do you even got to the point to create all of these amazing accomplishments? If you don't mind, do you mind just starting like your early beginnings so that audience can really understand and relate? Like, it's hard to compare yourself right now where you're at, right, with somebody who's just starting out. But what did you do to build your empire where you are today?
Yeah, it's a great story. I'll make it quick so we can jump into the good stuff. But I grew up in Iowa, small town of 700 people that nobody's heard of, Garnerville, Iowa. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. My father sold packaged ice for a living. He sold ice, so I can definitely sell ice to an Eskimo. I've learned how to sell that way. I grew up with him in that business. Ever since I was like 6 years old, I was throwing ice down the truck and working with him. I learned customer relationships, adding value. I went up to college. I went to Iowa State University. My grades weren't the best. I got a 1.68 GPA. I got kicked out my first semester from the dorm. But eventually I got things together, did graduate from college. But I learned just in terms of where I really got the value out of college is I read a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which I got right here. It's really changed my life. So read that book, got out of college, went into business, my father in the ice business. And so I was working ice, but then I ended up working corporate for a while. So I did have about not quite 2 years of experience in corporate, managed about 50 people across 8 different facilities. And I was in the ice business in that way. Well, where my life changed and I kind of slowly transitioned out was I invented this product called Arctic Stick to cool and flavor drinks. I wanted to find a way to add more value in the ice business and make more money. Took this product to market, got some patents, trademarks. You can buy it on Amazon today. But what that product led me to was on my last leg of funding, I did crowdfunding. And so I did a crowdfunding campaign, launched it. We raised about 26 grand. I learned that there was a need in the market to help people with crowdfunding. So I'm still doing the ice business. I'm doing this invention. I transitioned in 2013, 14 into raising money. And so I became a crowdfunding expert. Where I got my first break is I helped a guy named John Lee Dumas raise $500,000 in a month for his book, The Freedom Journal. And then ever since then, like I started go back to Think and Grow Rich. I ended up helping raise money for the movie on the book, Think and Grow Rich. So Think and Grow Rich, 𝗕𝗓𝗄. We actually did the largest docudrama in history, raising Indiegogo. I got in that movie, became a producer of the movie. And so crowdfunding is where I started getting the online world. I learned digital marketing. I learned video marketing. I learned the power of raising money. And then I really, from there, it just catapulted. And what I did is I understood fundraising. So I saw the key component of it was the video content, but also the story behind it. So I got more into the producing space. So one guy came to me in 2016 and said, hey, if you help me raise money for the pilot run of this show and we go film a show together, I'll make you my co-host. I said yes. 2 months later, we filmed our first episode. We filmed a show called Ambitious Adventures that ended up doing a deal in the Entrepreneur Network and is on Amazon Prime. And so that was my first TV show. I've done 3 TV shows since then. I got them from our show called Success in Your City. My wife and I, one's my wife, one's mine. And so we got that TV series out on Amazon Prime. And that's how I got to where I am today. And so that journey from selling ice to fundraising to TV shows. And where I really help entrepreneurs and people out now is I'm an investor and advisor in multiple companies. I do a lot with Kevin Harrington, Original Shark on Shark Tank, and we work with companies to help them grow, whether fundraising or strategic marketing and video marketing. And that's what I really enjoy. I'm like a little kid. Reminds me of 10 years ago or 8 years ago when I was pitching. I was trying to get my ideas out there. Now I can pay it forward, and I can advise or invest in different ideas and people and help them grow exponentially and ideally make it the next $100 million or $1 billion company.
Wow, that was an amazing journey and a lot of insane accomplishments and great momentum. You built amazing momentum and just catapult yourself forward. So do you mind sharing what was instrumental? Because I know you have also phenomenal success formula that you figured out. What was the key ingredient to make that happen? But if you don't mind, how much really actually, as a young, inspiring leader and somebody who walks his talk, obviously makes things happen, what would you say is essential for guys to look at? Like, this is trajectory you did in 8 years. Guys, look at what is possible. But
yeah, I want to first say that I failed a lot. There was points in my life where I had no money. I almost had to file bankruptcy at one point in my journey. 2015, when I was traveling, doing my podcasting tour, interviewing people, I slept in my truck 50 nights. I was not always where I'm at now. And I think all successful people really have that story. And so the first thing is you got to have grit, you got to have grind, and you got to really have a vision for the future and not always be stuck in the now where I'm at, my current situation, knowing, hey, this may be my current situation, but it's not where I'm going. I'm going in the future. So thinking big in terms of where you're going, but also the key component that really helped me was the people I surrounded myself with, my mentors, my relationships. There's always old saying, people always say, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It really is true. Every year I write down in my own journal 10 people's names. And those 10 people are the people I'm going to battle with. They're the people I'm going to do business with. I'm going to help. They're going to help me. I'm going to add value to. And those exponential, those numbers in terms of those 10 people and us, we grow together. So the easiest thing I'd say for anybody, whether now where you're at in life or looking in terms of people that are just getting started, it's very important who you surround yourself with. And if you, let's say you know where you want to go, you have a trajectory, here's where I want to go. Find somebody that's already achieved that. Find ways to get in partnership with them or make them money, hire them, add value to them, and get them as a mentor and somebody to guide you along the way. And the greatest example for me was Kevin Harrington. 5 years ago, I started work with him. And before that, if people that really heard my stories, before that, I hired a guy named Cactus Jack Behringer. And this is back in 2012. Who had partnered with Kevin Harrington years ago. And so I found somebody that already worked with him. And eventually I got to Kevin. And then after making him money, hiring him, collaborating in different deals, we became business partners. And now having somebody at that level has taken over 20 companies, so 100 million plus, and doing over 5 billion in sales. I can see in terms of how I can get to where I want to go because I have somebody who's done it. He's got 30 years on me. Like, he's done a lot more than me. And anybody, find your person that's already done it, that's went down that path, so you can minimize your mistakes and you can get there so much faster and make more money, have more success, find more opportunities. Find the right mentor. That's the biggest thing.
That is fantastic advice. And I keep hearing this pattern over and over. And for a lot of people that get discouraged, we've seen a lot of people making the insane amount of money, being successful, pivoting their businesses. So many people crashed and burned. So many people lost their jobs, company, and everything. So again, I always say, if you build it once, you can build it again. And I thank you for sharing vulnerability and sharing some of the hardships and challenging times, because all of us start in different points. And that doesn't mean that we cannot go up or down depending on situation.
It doesn't. Your current situation, I mean, that doesn't define you. What defines you is how you move forward with it. And no matter what situation you are, and people watching this, hearing this, it's just know, like, I've been there too. I've had those dark moments. Every person has. And what matters is what you do moving forward. And it's making that decision to keep moving forward. Winners, they never quit. Quitters never win. So always keep moving forward. And again, the reason why you're around those right people is when you're in those shitty times, you have those people to go to because they've been there. They can pick you up. They can help you get through it if you can't do it alone.
That is fantastic. And right now, besides you having obviously amazing resources and great team and such a powerful intelligence from Carrington and his team, you also have your academy and you build something, you build your own community. Do you mind sharing? Because a lot of people are trying to do that, or trying to spend more time, and including myself, it's like bigger you get, more followers, more connections, more this, more that. How do you maintain those relationships and how do you give back?
Yeah, I want to help everybody. I really do. My big goal in life is I want to impact 1 billion lives in a positive way by December 31st, 2029. And I want to do that through inspiration, motivation, education, through speaking, podcasting, online education, masterminds, events, and my TV show. And that's like very focused on what I want. And I can only help so many people. Like I'm back, like I'm in 20-minute segments doing calls and doing everything else. I can't help everybody else at the beginning. And so when I first started podcasting 5 years ago, I created this show called the University of Young Entrepreneurs. Now the Live Grind podcast, and I'm transitioning into the Brandon T. Adams show. I created that because I wanted to be able to scale in terms of how I can impact people's lives without having everybody want to do coffee meetings with me. So there's, how do I help people? I mean, the podcast show, it's a free resource. I have 400 and some episodes out that people can go check out. I've interviewed some of the best people in the world. So being able to check out stuff like that. But then as I grew my foundation, I've created these academy programs and masterminds, and they're programs that I created once. I put a lot of time, money, and effort into them, and then created something that, hey, they can buy it, they can go into it, and my brain is there. They can get access to it. And as they develop as entrepreneurs or individuals and they make more money, have more success, then I have the higher level opportunities where, hey, they might be able to invest 10, 20 grand and be in the inner circle groups that I have. And I want to help everybody in every stage. And that's my process, from a podcast show to, even you see behind me, a book, leading up to these programs. And that's just my way of giving back and helping people. And then the highest level really is eventually, people watching, you may be that person I work with in the future where we advise your company, we take you to 100 million. That could be the opportunity. And so that's my structure. I want to help so many people. And that's why I do it through my Success Academy, my shows, my content, and even speaking with you today. Like, I want to help somebody in that audience and give them that guidance maybe I didn't have early on.
That is brilliant. And again, thank you for doing and showing up every day. And one of the things I also wanted to emphasize for our audience that is listening and watching, Brandon is being extremely helpful and very, very active also in Clubhouse. And do you mind just sharing a little bit of Clubhouse and how is this now completely changing the playing field, and not in terms of just investments and growth, but also in terms of branding or recognition, individual branding and all of those things you already built and worked. And for the ones that are still building and working, and then we can segue so deeply into how it's important really to leverage the video marketing and messaging so that we can play in field with players that can really expedite that, put the growth on steroids, right?
Yeah, and I'll talk about Clubhouse, and I'll jump in some video stuff for you guys. But I'll tell you, Clubhouse, I mean, I got invited by Brian Harrington. It's an invite only, so you got to get it. Once you get in, you get one invite, and then you can unlock more. But I got invited from Brian Harrington. Brian's like, this thing's a unique platform. They've been trying to get my dad on it for a while, and there's all these influential people on there. And so I jumped on, and there's these chat rooms. The best way to describe it is it's like all these mini events going on. You can jump in, it's audio only, and there's an audience, and then there's speakers and a moderating platform. And so it's like these mini events. You can jump in, you can listen, you can provide feedback, you can get access to all these influential people. And so what we did 3-4 days ago, Kevin set his first one up. And so what it was is pitch Shark Tank with Kevin Harrington or something. And I've never seen anything quite like it. I mean, we had 500. So when I jumped on, Brian invited me, and there was like 300-400 on. Within 5 minutes, I saw it jump to like 700-800. And then before I knew it, we had 3,000 people on, and people were pitching. And the people in that speaker panel, just so you know, there was billions of net worth in that group. And people were getting the opportunity to pitch these people, which normally that's very difficult to get. We created like a mini Shark Tank. And so we were on there. I mean, it went like 22 hours long, by the way. So people came in and out. Like, I remember I was up till like 1 a.m. and then I left a little bit, came back, and it's still on. I'm just like, wow. And so what happened is we had, and I'll tell you the amount of abilities. So personally alone, by being on that panel, I personally, just from my Instagram, I had 150 DMs with pitches. I had 400 new followers, again, a couple thousand new on the platform itself. Between Kevin, Brian, and I, we had about 600 DMs, messages for pitches and decks. Everybody wanted to pitch, but it gave these people an opportunity to come on the platform, pitch the opportunity, and get investment from these people. And even Grant Cardone was on there. And it was cool to see, because at one point, the part I love is, yes, there's going to be companies that are going to get investment from these people. But there was one person came up and they had a nonprofit. And one person, you know what, I'll throw 1,000. Somebody else said, there was like 5,000 raised just like that. And then one was going to be mentor them, said, I think I can help you raise $250,000. So stuff like that, it's so unique and powerful. And we're pioneering this new platform. And I think it's a perfect time, because with COVID and with everything, there's not the big in-person events. This is what we've been dying to get: connections, being with people. And so Clubhouse has provided that. And I think it's a great opportunity for people right now to get into a new platform and establish yourself and become an authoritative person to connect with people you normally couldn't, by just being on this platform on the ground floor. So I can't say enough about that. I think so many different things. And I'd be curious to hear from you, Izabela. What was your experience being in the audience and listening?
I just wanted to tell you that I'm so excited and thrilled about opportunities, because dealing with the C-suites and executives in corporate America and everything is now shifting. Actually, I'm seeing quite a bit of people who are also in corporate America, but also wanted to be entrepreneurs or already doing both. You never get such exposure with business owners and decision makers to be in the same room. I'm being thrilled with your quality of content and value that you provided. And actually, I was there when you mentioned this lady for her nonprofit around education. And when you see this very compassionate cause, and I'm humanitarian, and I love your background. That's like, this is what I was like, so you giving back. You're also finding ways to support others and helping charities. And that's important to me also, seeing that we have now these very conscious, heavy owners of the companies that are socially aware of, and they really wanted to make a difference on so many levels. And as you said, having access to have a insanely amazing, skilled, and smart mentors, coaches, and access and conversation to that for them and to them, it's just I'm absolutely, I can't even say, it's insane. Really, it is.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. It's definitely it was a cool experience, because so many people are getting these opportunities they normally couldn't get.
And the reason I brought up Clubhouse is just for guys that are not familiar to pivot, because you master your own brand, you master your own story, you put yourself uncomfortably comfortable, and that what propels you. That's where you are here today. Branding, specific individual branding, a lot of people still struggle to identify for a large corporation they work for. They don't do any action around their own identity. So if, God forbid, company collapses, who are you? Where you been? And then what can you carry on to the next venture or next opportunity? And I feel like people are so stuck in that. So if you don't mind now, really pivot, because I feel like, how can we really transition into individual branding, right? Yeah. Then that we can be influencers through the digital marketing, and definitely through the video with your expertise, please.
Yeah, no, and I mean, we live in a world where, let's say your resume or your pitch deck is your social media profiles, what people see you. I mean, within the first 5 seconds of coming to your page, they're going to be judging you. I mean, we just do it. And I'll tell you, the first thing I looked at in terms of all these people that DM me, I went to their profiles, and that was what turned me on or off in terms of if I thought they were a great company to work with. I mean, if they didn't talk about their business on their profile, why would I want to get more involved? Because they're not telling the world about it. They're not leveraging these social platforms. So one thing for all of you out there, if you have serious about a business or your brand, whatever, make sure your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Instagram profiles, your Twitter, they're filled out. You have a great headshot of you. You have things posting on those pages. You're sharing what you do, how you help people, because that when I go to those pages and I look at them, they gotta wow me, because if they don't, I go next. I go to the next thing. And so a lot of those people that pitched me, I'd look at them and then I'm like, I went to the next thing. And the ones that I did check out and sent me, and I just had a call with them earlier, it was because they had everything in place in terms of their social media platforms. So just going through in terms of building a brand and specifically through video marketing. So your brand is who you are, what you portray to the world, what people say about you when you're not around. It's what they think of you as. And it's a communication through these different mediums, whether it's Clubhouse or on social media, and specifically through videos. So when I'm sharing videos, sharing about who I am as a person, but also what I do to help people. I always talk about creating video content, about utilizing video marketing strategies to raise money, to use it for getting people into your programs, or using it to portray the message of your company, which helps get more investors, whatever it may be. So I'm communicating that consistently. And so when I'm creating videos, and most of my videos, by the way, we're not filming like a TV show, it's with my phone. If you got a smartphone, you have a pretty high quality camera. So if you're just creating videos and sharing about your company, sharing about your business, who you are, and taking that video asset and uploading, I have all the apps for the social media. So uploading to your Facebook page, uploading to LinkedIn, uploading to Instagram, and posting that on a regular basis, you're providing value to the world, but you're also educating them in terms of who you are and what you do. And most sales are done between like the 7th and 19th time you approach somebody or they see your content, multiple touch points. So when you're creating consistent content and you're consistently sharing that knowledge with the world and people seeing who you are and what you do, they may not need you now, but when they do, they're going to go to you. Or they may not need you, but they'll tell somebody else about you. And so that's why video marketing is so powerful in this world, because video gets the most attraction on social media, more than a picture, more than text posts. Video, you can see it, you can hear it, and if the video is done right, you can get the emotional behind it. And there's a lot of communication that happens beyond, as people are watching this now, there's a lot of communication you see between me smiling, my hand gestures, body movement, gestures, facial communication. And so there's a lot of trust that can be built by people seeing your face. And so if you're creating enough of those videos that people can see your face, they're going to like you, they're going to trust you, and they're eventually going to DM you, which leads to maybe doing a call like this or working together. And so that's the biggest thing. That's why I love creating videos and why video marketing is powerful for different businesses. And if you're not utilizing it, you're losing out on a huge opportunity for your business.
Very, very powerful and very strong. And you spot on. And I know that a lot of times we hear all these conversations, where to invest money, time, and effort, specifically because a lot of people are focusing just on audio or video is, I also was thinking, it's like, you don't have to watch it, you can just listen, but it's also good to, as you just said, made a contact and just to see who is talking, do you trust that person, is it credible, and then go to listening mode if that is needed to. But one of the things I want to ask is, see, now you communicate in such a beautiful way in so many different, utilizing so many different mediums, from podcasts to obviously publishing books to obviously leveraging videos and whatnot. And right now, with everything that is happening, do you mind emphasizing again, just if you have any statistics or any information, because a lot of people are very, very shy. And even just going on live, like no filter, no editing, oh my God, it's freaking people out. So a lot of people don't even do it, but they have a phenomenal message. Yeah. So what would you recommend for those breakthroughs that you've seen with your academy, with the youth and future leaders, but also with people that over the years you coached and dealt with those experiences?
Yeah, and it's been amazing to see how we've transformed people's lives. I mean, where I really learned at a high level is when we were on set filming people for our shows, when the camera was on, they shared things they normally wouldn't share. And so it was very therapeutic for them as humans by sharing it and sharing that message. And that's where I really realized, man, this can help a lot of people. And just know, everybody out there, you all have a message to share. The number one people say is, nobody cares about what I have to say, or I don't know if I'm going to look good on camera, or maybe it's like people, I'm going to say the wrong thing. They overthink it. The best way to, I at one point sucked in. I wasn't very good in front of the camera, but what I did is I started creating more content and became fearless. And the easiest thing is just starting with your phone, creating that way. You don't need to buy a camera or all the lighting. You don't need to do that. If you do, I have 3 ring lights here. They're $20 each on Amazon. Like that's pretty easy to get. But creating content, just sharing who you are as a person, sharing what you do. So sharing your best tips, like if you're a marketer and you want to get more business from marketing, share videos that share, hey, here's some marketing tips. Here's 3 tips I'm going to share today. So, hey, I'm Brandon C. Adams. Here's 3 marketing tips. You share them, and the call to action is go check out my website. Go check out my academy, and whatever that is. Or, hey, go share this video. And then another thing, too, is when you're sharing content through your videos, the easiest way to really create content and know what you're going to talk about is share past experiences or stories that you've experienced in your life. Because all you're doing is like telling a story around a campfire. The difference is you have a phone in front of you, you're telling it to a video, which gets displayed to a wide audience. And so for business tactics, it's sharing stories of clients you've worked with before. So like, hey, I worked with Joy, and Joy and I worked together doing this. Or, hey, I worked with Izabela and I worked together in one of my programs. And what we did is I helped her get in front of the camera and create regular video content. And now she's got a 6-figure business overnight or whatever. I'm just talking out loud here, but sharing those past case studies from people you've worked with, and then people watching, they're getting value. It's easy for you to communicate that because you're sharing something you already knew, but also that person in the audience is like, that's me. I'm that person. I'm that person. And then I want to be that person in that story. So share stories, share your wisdom, and just start. And another thing where people get caught up on is, where do I put the video? So I'm big on multi-purposing, and it works. I mean, even my great mentors who spend a lot more money on videos and content online, that they do the same thing. So creating one piece of video content, and I'm known for doing a video a day. That's not realistic for most people starting out. Maybe you do 2 a week, but creating a video, and then once you're done with the video, upload it to your business Facebook page or your personal page. Add your text. Let's say top 3 tips in video marketing, and maybe that's your text. Copy that text and then upload it to Facebook. Go to LinkedIn, upload the same video, paste that text into that area. Maybe you want to add a hashtag or whatever it is, post it to LinkedIn, and then go over to Instagram and do the same thing. And maybe you can add Twitter or whatever platform, but just taking one piece of content and posting it to all the same pages at once. So a matter of 5 or 10 minutes, you can have one video that goes to 3 or 4 platforms, which can exponentially reach people by just doing something in a 10-minute segment.
That is brilliant. Repurposing is obviously very, very huge. But I love what you said, simultaneous, and then that is instantaneously creating the buzz. That is as well a huge, great strategy. Do you mind just telling a little bit of the audience, because a lot of people also get stuck, believe it or not, is with all these different apps. Do I add the title on the video? Do I do captions? How long it should be? All these really like nitty gritty. And I know it's some rules and what makes sense, but I'm just curious from your experience with the volume, with type of audience that you serve, as well as people you play with. I'm just curious, what is your best practice and something that you can say, don't get stuck in the weeds, don't really pay too much attention on this, but this is what's really essential to have this great video done?
Yeah, so first off, which I'm glad you brought it up, and going to the next level, I first start at the beginner level, because if you share it all, people get overwhelmed, they do none of it. You're like, oh, you gotta have subtitles, you gotta square a video of this. It's better to get content out than not have anything. And that's why, like, not all my videos are square videos or subtitles, because I'm all about content is king. And I do the other stuff, but at least get the content out. Now, if you want to go to the next level, create your videos, and there's a platform that makes it really inexpensive and easy to do, is 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗂𝗏.com. And for like your first video is free, then it could be like anywhere from $9 to $19 a month, where you upload the video. Within a minute, it'll automatically transcribe it. You can change it into a square video. You can add a title, and then go through and you can make sure that the subtitles look good. You can export it, and then you can upload to social media, and right within 10 minutes, you can have a square video with subtitles and everything that you can upload. It looks very professional, because on average, they say 85% of videos are watched with no sound. So whatever they're doing, they can't have the sound on. So they're watching your video and they're just reading the text. And so that's why it's important to do that. But I want to make sure people understand that at least get content out. Don't let that, hey, I got to get a square video. Don't let that hold you back. Anything on top of that, anything on top of what you do just with your phone without the square video is bonus. So as you build that up, like I have at least in here 200 videos that have probably through a subtitle where they're a square video and they have a subtitle below that I can go grab from my phone that I already created, and maybe I'll just upload it again. So once you build up your assets, you can repost them over time. This is my office. It literally is. Like I'm hoping eventually with hopefully Elon Musk gets rushing on his amazing accomplishments, because I don't want to get carpal tunnel. I want to be able to think it and just happens. This phone, I love it, but I hate it.
I totally hear you. But that is fantastic. That is very, very helpful, because one of the things that, as you just mentioned, waiting to everything production-wise, get ready, or taking extra time, then, you can mix and match, guys, and it's okay. Not everything has to be always the same, but it's also nice to be give a little surprise and change the scenery, right? As well as the message. But I'm also very cognizant of people that are hearing impaired, so a lot of them can't hear it anyway. So it's like, let's help them out, and then also think about it, the different listeners and readers, because people from different countries, different cultures, they find it extremely helpful. Even though they hear you, they still wanted to read it, so that they make sure that they also capture the content in a way that is conducive for them, because a majority of people, in other countries, obviously English is not their first language. And somebody who speaks very fast, or somebody like, who is on fire, it's like, it's a phenomenal, but it's like, wait a second, what did he just say?
I know. That's something I do. Is I speak really fast, and it's eventually I would love to get it where I'm having people editing full time and putting things into different languages. We actually have, for the movie 𝗕𝗂𝗿 𝗕𝗂𝗂𝗍 that we had created. I'm in it for a short minute, but they actually put it in. It's in Czech Republic, it's in Spanish, and it's in English. And it's cool because I have people reaching out from different countries and they're like, I loved your movie that you were in, and I really do want to cater to as many people as possible, because English speaking in the United States is only a small component to the whole world. And especially, as I told you before, to impact 1 billion lives, I got to go beyond the English. I got to go into the Spanish and everything else. My Spanish is very weak, so I'm gonna have to transcribe that.
But I'm so glad you're thinking about that, and it's a huge service. And I just wanted to tell you, will be tremendously successful, because we don't have a financial education still, even though we keep talking even last 10, 15, 20 years. We need to bring more financial education, not only in actual education, but also into different curricula and post-education of elementary and high school and colleges, universities, and having concepts like that are so transformative, and that builds that foundation of what is possible and breakthroughs in personal development. I think that it's just a great value to give them in a way that people can really consume them the easiest way. And so a lot of artificial intelligence right now, tools that are actually dabbling into that. So I can't remember on top of my mind, but I believe that IBM was tinkering with something, and I don't know how scalable that is to actual movie or the size of length of the movie that you may have, but it's definitely worth exploring, and I will get back to you on that one.
I mean, I'll tell you in the future, like, let's look at the next 5-10 years. I know this will be available. I mean, Tony Robbins is already developing this right now. I can see where I could basically have a partner or somebody go through everything. I have thousands of videos out. They could probably get them, extract them, and once 2029, they say that AI and everything, basically there's going to be, let's say, robots or abilities that will have the same capabilities as a human, which is scary but exciting. But what will happen is, I believe, they can extract all this information. Hey, go online, check all the Brennan T. Adams stuff, put it into the system, which could become almost like a Brennan T. Adams, but online, where they could actually easily probably turn it into different languages. I imagine that's going to happen in some format, or it's already created. It's just not widespread. And I'm really looking forward to that, because what I'm building here, and people that are creating content online, I'm creating this digital footprint. Like, you can search Brennan T. Adams, and there's 15 pages deep. You can see all these videos, and people will reach out for videos they saw 4 years ago. But gathering that data and putting everything that's in here into a platform where I can scale it to the highest level, where, hey, maybe I don't need to go travel across the country or travel to Australia or whatever to go speak. Maybe there's this automated system, or there's a hologram that comes up and it's Brandon T. Adams and it's speaking, or whatever that is. Like, this stuff is talking really into the future, but it's here, it's coming. And I'm ready for that because I want to hit the biggest number that I can. Nothing will ever beat that human interaction, but I do want to reach a large scale. And so I'm excited for what this does. And I really believe if we all start building that digital footprint, we're putting ourselves in a position when technology advances, we're going to be able to grow exponentially and be first in line to be able to take advantage of these opportunities.
I love it. I love your vision. I also love how you pivot in, because everything is going to be speeding up. And if you're already creating the solid foundation, is going to just easily be able to expand upon on that. And I think you're spot on. That is the future. That is where the need's going to be. But only way how you can reach all those people that cannot travel, cannot pay to go to conference, cannot or don't have not only means, but also opportunities just because of situations in their countries or environments they're in. But everybody right now, I believe statistics, most recent one is over 3 billion of people have access either through mobile or other devices, access to internet. When you think about it, we're just a little bit shy of 8 billion people. Look at that rapid exponential growth. And as you mentioned, 2029, we're going to be over half, easily, over 4 or 5 billion people.
Well, and think about this. Think about more people getting access to the internet and more things that are online. And as that develops and more widespread, all the things that we had created that's online, it's just going to start reaching more people. Like, there's a couple articles that I have out there. It's insane. And they're 4 years ago they got put out. How many people reach out to me from that one article that hit the algorithm just right in SEO, and it's like the top thing that gets searched. I think it's like how to create your own TV show. It comes up, and it's cool, but that's the power of like SEO and getting the right algorithm. And the way to hit that is, yeah, I'm sure there's all these different techniques in AdWords. That's my expertise. But if you create a lot, you're bound to hit a winner. The more you do, the luckier you get. So I'm all about throwing a lot of darts, and more bullseyes are going to come.
And I love it. It's like, because you don't know what's going to work, what's going to be the next major success or viral. And I love what you said earlier. You failed so many times, but that didn't stop you. And you always find the way and the path that does work, and you just keep at it. And obviously, you leverage video so insanely well. So you have award-winning shows. As a result, you won 2 Emmys that we're looking behind you. So do you mind sharing? I mean, when you think about it, with the experience that you're having and everything you did, and we're having guys joining us right now on the LinkedIn and making the comments. Hey, Rollis, I just want to say hello. And Say and Shay and a bunch of others. Great questions. And very good point actually from Rollis here, but around some engagements, videos, Google statistics. Yes, algorithms are changing all the time, but when it's your intellectual property, when you are behind it as an author, you have chance to move it and lock it into so many different environments. So that should never stop you, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're creating enough of it, like, you are your own person. You're Izabela, I'm Brandon. And if you're seeing that somewhere, people are going to see you. That's why a personal brand is powerful. And then once they see you, they're going to see what you're doing. And then that allows to really bring up everything else you're working on. That's
fantastic. So if you don't mind, just now with the closing, I know you have to dash pretty soon to your next meeting. And this is insane. You guys don't have no idea how generous it is for him to be here today, given that he's having so many multi-million-dollar deals on table. But obviously, you leverage videos phenomenally well. You got awards, which means that even with your own small shows that initially started, you figured out the quality, the angle, but also storytelling and powerful ingredients to do that. Do you mind just sharing quickly just a little blurb for people that have really wanted to focus now on the mastery spectrum? You know, what do you think its secret sauce or ingredients, just to help them at least expand their horizons and think and dream big? Because a lot of times we just put ourselves in a box and we think, no way I can ever do that.
Well, I'm telling you, it's very possible. It takes a lot of work and time, but it's very possible. I mean, I grew up in a small town. I didn't know what Emmys were. I didn't know what creating TV shows were. 5 years ago, I was not even doing this. I was not producing shows. So just know it's there. My first TV show I started doing 4.5 years ago. So 3 later. And it comes down to having a great story, finding great stories, and being able to communicate that story. So as a director or producer, being in there, asking the right questions that extract the right information to help tell that story. It's having cinematographers grabbing B-roll content that help tell the story as well, like getting photos or getting different things that when somebody's talking, there's B-roll over top of B-roll is like video or footage that goes over the voiceover that helps communicate and flow the story. So when you can get the great stories and be able to tell those stories through, let's say, a show or a movie, like that inspires people. And if you want to go to the next level, it's finding the right videographers, cinematographers, and the right director, somebody that can bring it all together. So capturing, we'll go film for a few days and capture all this content, get these interviews, get these stories, get assets from that. And then going back to the editing room, that's where the real magic happens. Like the editor will make or break your show, your film, your project, because you're taking these great shots, you're taking these great stories, and you're editing in a way that really empowers people and flows through the beginning. It tells that story where you're captivated, where you're glued to it. And at the end, like there's a beginning, there may be an obstacle, and then how you overcame that obstacle to the end, or the happy ending, or whatever it is. And so once you create something like that, you have the right team of cinematographers, you have the right stories, you have the right editor, you capture that and put it together, you have a great video or film or movie or show, whatever that is. And then the next level, the hardest part after you do all that, is you gotta get people to watch it, right? Then you got to market it. Then you got to get it out. Social media is a big thing in that, getting it out, distribution. And then once people watch it and they are empowered by it, it helps spread it more. I mean, one of the greatest things we did, we wrote a book on the experience of our show. We created and produced and have it on Amazon Prime, Success in Your City. But then after getting it all done, while we're editing, my wife and I wrote the book that shared the stories of the people we feature on the show, but we shared what it took to actually create the show and the obstacles we experienced along the way. So having a book and a show, one might read the book, they're like, I got to watch a show. Or they watch a show and they want to read the book. And that's where you look in Hollywood, usually the book comes first and then they create a movie. So they really supplement each other in telling that message, but it's the ultimate branding move. It's a lot of work, but I'll tell you, it's worth it. And I think the most rewarding part is being able to take these amazing human beings that do have a great story and sharing it to a wider audience and hearing the impact that people are having from, oh, this person inspired me that you had on the show or whatever. That's the part that's really powerful.
Wow, that is amazing. Thank you again, sharing that journey. Since like you were always able to anticipate what my next needs are, what the next thing I need to do, and then figure out a way to solve it so that you can do actually holistically all of that in-house, which is insane. Because again, on the end, you know also how to market. You also know how to put it in market and create a success and create great traction. So a lot of times people don't have no idea what else they need or what those next steps are. So it's great to know that that book is available. So do you mind just telling us where people can find you, where they should start? Obviously, social media, they can try, to reach out, to connect and all of that. But where will be the best starting points so that they can land either on your academy page or whatever you think you want to drive them?
Yeah, before I share that, I wanted to share, Rala says here, your favorite go-to question to ask. And that's a really good question. And for an interview, what I personally like for questions are like starting from your childhood kind of experiences, aren't even business related, but also like, what was your lowest moment in life, biggest obstacle where you thought you had to give up? And what was your thought process in that moment? How'd you overcome it? Like those questions. But I'll tell you, when we're on set, this is what we do. A lot of the questions that we ask, they're not even pertaining to what we want to get out of them at first. We're first starting by asking questions about them. And sometimes they don't even know the cameras are rolling. They think we're still setting up, but we're filming. And we'll ask them like, hey, tell me about what are some hobbies of yours? Or tell me, what was it like where you grew up? And then they start talking and they're just like, they light up, like where they grew up, what their family life was like. And then they start opening up more. And then that starts going, there's a point to that because eventually it gets more targeted in the questions. So Tim Ferriss talks about this. The best questions are the ones that you don't go in having. They're the questions that come from the content in the interview. And then once you're in the interview, you ask the right question. So if you get those questions going, once you're into the interview, you can really ask those targeted questions. And that's where the good stuff starts coming in. So just know that in the interview process, and the more also research you do on a person, before you interview them or you give them on your show, the more you understand everything about them. So do your research as an interviewer, as a podcast host, whatever, because if you know everything about them and you ask them questions they're not used to, they're going to be like, wow, they know you did the research, but also they're going to open up more. So here's some tips there on that. And thank you for that question. But to go back to what you asked, if you people want to find me, I'm on social media everywhere at Brandon T. Adams, Instagram, Facebook. I'm here on LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it. If people want to check out my site, it's brandonTadams.com. And there's also our training there for academies, advising, everything. You can just check it out at brandonTadams.com.
Fantastic. This was extremely rich, valuable. Thank you again for your time. I cannot wait to be continued and see you in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say you keep giving everywhere, and it's just tremendous value also to be able to capture this and give it outside of Clubhouse for guys that are not attending, but yet they're trying to get to that next level. So much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Cheers.